wild. Hunting, fishing is my kind of style. I float the Wainuchi when it gets hot. I'm proud of all the things that I've got. I'm digging in moss bags up in the sand, and after work a cold beer in my hand, picking wild berries off God's land. I'm drinking my buddy's homemade wine, living Northwest wild. Hunting, fishing is my kind of style. I float the Wainuchi when it gets hot. I'm proud of all the things that I've got. I'm digging in moss bags up in the sand, and after work a cold beer in my hand, picking wild berries off God's land, and drinking my buddy's homemade wine in the Northwest wild.
Hey everybody, good evening and welcome to Fish on Northwest. Wayne England sitting here once again solo, live in studio this evening from the Fish on Northwest studio. And I do have Josh here across the room, fully viz-queened off behind a shelter. So we're doing good in that regard. But our good buddy Barnum is home taking care of family and his business as he should be, as a lot of you are home this evening. So you know what? Let's kind of detach ourselves from all that's going on in the world of news and all this COVID stuff, and try to have, I don't know, matter-of-fact discussions about fishing and hunting in the outdoors. Well, and unfortunately COVID. So it is what it is. We are dealing with unprecedented times, as most people have, often been coined as saying, but we do have things to talk about. We do have things affecting our ability now, especially more than ever, to be out on the water or in the woods and doing the things we really enjoy doing, the 250,000 plus folks that reside here in the state of Washington, and much more than that throughout the entire Northwest. So this is affecting everybody. We're going to try to get through this show. I'm going to basically take this on by myself without my partner Barnum, unfortunately, and try to give you guys a show and find some balance and all that is so unbalanced currently in our daily lives. And I do want to remind you all specifically that Fish on Northwest is presented by Better Homes and Gardens Pacific Commons Real Estate, located in Puyallup, Washington, and of course our very good friends out there at Defiance Marine, located in Bremerton, where they manufacture Allied, Arima, and Defiance boats. If you have not yet, you need to check them out online. Better yet, go out there and see what they have for inventory, because they're doing some amazing things. So, as it is, fishing is shut down in the state of Washington. If you haven't heard that, you're not hearing it here first. This is a fact that cannot be overlooked. I kind of went into this day, started yesterday afternoon, late afternoon, knowing that this closure was coming, trying to assess truly the situation. What does it mean? Why would we close fishing? How is that going to help prevent the spread of the coronavirus? And is it the right move? Well, I guess as I look at it, I may have a different set of glasses on than most. Obviously, my profession as a firefighter for the past 31 years gives me a different perspective on things as we deal with things such as a pandemic. I never thought at any point in my career would I have to deal with a pandemic. Yes, I've dealt with some major disasters in the United States, in the state of Washington throughout my career. I spent 12 days back in the day in Oklahoma City recovering bodies after the bombing. I've been on a couple other deployments with the FEMA task force. I've done a lot of things in my career that you think you're pretty much ready for anything. But this is an unknown, unseen, almost silent killer that you never really think as a firefighter you're going to have to deal with a pandemic, not here in the United States, not in the year of 2020, but hey, we are. So it changes everything we're doing. It changes everything you all are doing day to day, but it really also impacts first responders, fire EMS, police officers, those out there on the front line, grocery store clerks, utility workers, everybody that is still considered essential to keep things moving along, okay? In our line of work, it's changed drastically in that we show up each day and it's a complete decon and wipe down of everything we are utilizing for the day. We're talking on the rigs, on the medic units, all the equipment, our radios, our computers. That's just with the vehicles. Then we move into our workstation areas, complete wipe down of that. Then the day rooms and the chairs, tables, all day long, everything. And we do this multiple times a day throughout the day, trying to keep our work environment safe. We can no longer wear our duty boots from our apparatus bay into our day area, into our day use area. Okay, we have to switch out shoes or decon our shoes before entering the building. So there's a lot going on day to day that's involved with us in our workplace, and along with obviously the probable exposure when we arrive at a house of a person who's ill and they are sick and with a high probability of COVID-19, we have to package them up and transport them to the hospital. Every single call we go on, we're putting on our mask, our protective clothing, our gloves, our glasses, our goggles. We're utilizing and maximizing as much protection and safety as we can, because it's important that our folks stay safe and free of COVID. So not only can we continue to serve the public, but we can go home and not harm our family. So there's a lot to this day in and day out. So I try to find balance in that. And the other side of my life, which is all of this, Fish Hunt Northwest, the passion, the passion for being outdoors, fishing and hunting, and is in an extreme measure when the state closes it down. How do we find balance in that regard? I want to unplug and detach from everything I do day in and day out and come home with a lake in my backyard, and when it's open, I want to be able to fish. I want to be able to go out hiking. I want to start planning my fishing trips as the spring rolls out. We've had to recognize and become familiar with different terms as of late: density control measures, social distancing, and communal spread. These are things that are on the tongues of many as you walk around and talk with folks. I stopped by Cabela's yesterday on my way home from work, and I wanted to get my fishing license, even though I kind of thought we were looking at a closure. But in my mind, if it was 2 weeks from now when things would open back up, I didn't want to be standing in a lengthy line to get my fishing license as we roll into April, because your license, don't forget, expires March 31st. So I went there. They're limiting 50 people in the store at one time. Everybody was expressing social distancing as you're standing outside. They're counting the folks as you're walking in, and I believe I was number 44, 45. Only person that went to the fishing area. Everybody else went upstairs for guns and ammo. What does that tell you? It's just kind of a testament of the times, okay? As we move around in society and go to day here, most of us are now, in the next couple of weeks, going to be spending a lot of time at home, with that exception of going to the grocery store or some type of needed errand. And yes, lots of people are at the grocery stores, and yes, you're going to grab shopping carts that I hope, hopefully you disinfect and take protective measures on your own accord, and have some hand sanitizer in your vehicle. And when you go home, as you unload this stuff into your house and you bring the unknown into your house, you're taking measures to protect your family. It's a different world in this small window of history that we're experiencing in, and it's hitting a lot of us hard. And there's a lot of people that are going to be out of work, and we all know the economy is going to tank. It's going to take us a while to climb out of this. But now let's take general population as it's affecting everybody across the board, and let's dial it into fishing and hunting. What is truly going on in the realm of fishing and hunting? That's what the majority of us really are concerned about, to a point. So guides, outfitters, skippers out there out of Westport closed down. They don't want people running boats and charters with multiple people on there, close proximity. We get that. The recreational opportunity of families who are quarantined or told to stay home, excuse me, you would like to be able to go out and go fishing with your family. Take your boat, just go launch it, get out on a lake, take the kids out, show them, teach them things that you haven't had time to get outdoors with them previously because they'd be in school, and now that's been taken away from you. So it's hitting us with the charters and the guides and persons on a professional level. It's hitting us on a personal level in that we're not able to get out there and enjoy with family and teach our kids things. It's basically shut it down to the point where, is it really that vital that we do this? Because I think I should be able to go out on my boat with my family and not worry about communal spread. But it also is conflicting when the governor states, and many of you have put this on social media, which is blowing up like crazy, go ahead and go outside, go for a walk, take the dog for a walk, go hiking, spend some time outdoors, exercise. All these things are good. These are the stress releases that we need to deal with this pandemic, and I get that. But then on the other hand, they take exactly away what we want to go do. We want to go outside. We want to go fishing. We want to go hiking. But they're telling you to stay at home. Don't drive great distances to get to a location to go do something. So they shut down all access of state lands. They shut down all water access. And then ultimately they closed fishing. So it's a conflicting message when they say go outside and do things, but yet they take everything away from you. So why close fishing? If you moor your boat somewhere up in Seattle or Tacoma and you have access immediately by walking into your boat and going out onto Puget Sound, what is your COVID footprint? How many people are you going to impact by simply getting on your boat and doing that? And I'm like, well, none. I agree with that. You should be able to take your boat where it's moored, go out, spend the day on the water with your family, come back in, no harm, no foul. Much like, is it really that big of a deal if I'm to take my boat to a lake that would be open, drop it in, not talk to anybody, go out fishing for the day on my boat, come back in, load it up, and head home? Not a big impact there either. The problem is, especially as we look at still having opportunity with salmon in steelhead and if ocean fisheries were open, a majority of people using public boat ramps, congregating in a specific area, driving to these small towns to go out and go fishing. You're stopping at gas stations, you're stopping at grocery stores, you're stopping at mini marts. You may think you're perfectly clean and fine. Unbeknownst to you, because you haven't been tested, you don't know if you have this, okay? It is definitely spreading at a rapid rate, and we've just begun to scratch the surface. We're going to see an uptick throughout Western Washington, Pierce County, and even further south over the next 2 to 3 weeks. That's a guarantee. So you don't know if you have it. And if we take these highly populated areas where most of us reside, and we want to go out to our destinations in the rural communities in these small towns and inundate them with lots of folks showing up with boats in tow and rafts and kayaks and whatever else we're going to go out and do, and we stop at those gas stations, grocery stores, and mini marts, and we're grabbing and touching and leaving our footprint around, there's cause for concern. Those small communities could not handle a pandemic to strike them down. The majority of these small towns are populated by a lot of senior folks, a lot of retirement folks. And not only that, but they don't have the EMS systems in place to handle widespread pandemic or a virus coming through a small town. So there is that to consider. Trust me, I get it. If my boat is moored in a marina, I should be able to go out and fish. But if I have to drive a couple hours and impact somebody in a small town, or I stop and talk to folks along the way, and that is going to happen. Not everybody can just grab their boat, go fishing, come back, not talk to anybody. You're going to have to stop. Get your beer, get your chew, get your snacks, get your lunch, get your gas. It happens. And when there's an influx of mass transit of folks out there doing it, it can become problematic. WDFW is in a position to say, and they made it pretty clear, that they don't enforce persons' decision to travel. They are not in the business of policing folks on the road. It's not their job. It's not their intent. They recognize that they are a state agency. The governor put out a declaration that stated, stay at home, stay healthy. The way they're trying to appease that is trying not to give persons a destination to go to. That's the crux of it. If they remove the destination, they figure folks aren't going to travel, and they're not adding to the problem of people continuing to be out on the roads on the sunny afternoons for the next couple weeks and trying to get out and do stuff. Now, one thing I also try to wrap my head around is they've closed fishing for 2 weeks. If we were completely up and normal running with no COVID, no pandemic, no issues, everybody's going to work, kids are in school, kids are playing baseball season starting up, kids are going to piano lessons, families are busy, especially with kids in school and after school activities. Over the next 2 weeks, you have to ask yourself, how many times were you truly going to get out and fish? I'm not talking about the guides and the professionals in the industry and persons that make it a point to, normally they get out multiple times a week. But you yourself, looking at it from a perspective of over the next 2 weeks up until that closure, how many times would you have gone out and fished? So how many days did the state take away from you by doing that? If you were at the point of, hey, this closure is making us stay home, but I'm going to take my family out fishing during this pandemic, how many days would you have actually gone out, and how many days now has that been taken away from you? And for some folks, to be honest, I got to think that if we're not working and we are worried about where our next paycheck comes from, and we have to wait for the government to subsidize us with our check, and rightfully so, and groceries are the priority, and making it through the next couple months is a priority. How much of us could afford to put gas in our tanks and take our boats out and actually go fishing? I guess my point is, when it's risk versus benefit, and we're talking a couple weeks, and if we are diligent and do what we should be doing over the next couple weeks, we can hope and pray that this thing is going to wind down, and by April 6th, they have a reevaluation established, and by April 8th, we are back open and going fishing. It is, if it doesn't affect you personally, if you think this is all media hype and you're not buying into it, there's not much that anybody can say that's going to convince you otherwise. If you work intimately with it in your work environment and you see the results of this affecting people, you probably have a different perspective. I personally would love to be able to just go out and go fishing. The boats are sitting out here in my driveway. I would rather do nothing this next week when the weather gets nice to hook them up and go to different destinations. Start hitting the lakes for kokanee and trout. Get out on the ocean and go after bottom fish and lingcod. We got a halibut opener coming up not too far off in the future, and some other things that are going to happen. Would like to get out on the water and go do that stuff. But if I have to weigh that out and say, right now, these next 2 weeks, if they're going to close it down at any point, let's do it right now, get it over with. Because when we get into mid-April, you know, we have a lot of things that are going to start unfolding here. Based on the schedule, you know, April 25th is a lowland lake trout opener that everybody can look forward to. This is provided we're back open by April 9th. Okay, so we roll in towards the end of the month, we get to go fishing for trout. The halibut opener is slated throughout the Strait of Juan de Fuca and most of Puget Sound, April 16th. So if we're open back by the 9th, we can plan to go after our halibut. We have the Western Straits, Oahu, La Push, Nia Bay by April 30th. We do have Puget Sound blackmouth opportunities that are going to continue through the 15th or to the 30th based on quota. Now, if we're closed up until the 9th, chances are we get that quota that's going to push us on through till April 30th. We also have additional opportunities for shrimp, lingcod, and whatnot throughout areas of Puget Sound starting in around May 1st. There's a lot of stuff coming up that we're going to be able to go do, but if we prolong this thing and can't get things reopened, it's going to be detrimental and very, very painful to get through. So I know a lot of folks are ticked off, and I know a lot of people are, you know, thinking that the state's taking stuff away from you. The other part of this is the reality here, guys. Your fishing license has to be renewed starting April 1st. I've seen a lot of people on social media saying, F WDFW, I want my money back. They going to reimburse me for how much money I'm out. The realization here is, if your new license goes into effect April 1st and fishing is opened back up April 9th, they have a week. How many days were you going to fish in that week's time? 1, 2? I'm just saying, you know, this is for the betterment of not just our local communities, but our state overall, the health of our state, the state of Washington, throughout the Pacific Northwest, in our entire nation. I do not recall anything ever that we've dealt with that not only historically has closed down fishing, but this is a nationwide, worldwide issue. So we need to keep it in perspective, knowing we're going to get our fishing back. Yes, it's been a tough year. We've had early closures on our steelhead. Barnum and I have beat the drum consistently on how much we have been subjected to and how much has been taken away from us over the course of this fishing year. And going into north of Falcon, things don't look really, really great, but they don't look all that bad. So this is just another one that nobody saw coming. I don't envy the job of WDFW and their leaders to make this decision in support of the governor's decision to bring the state to a grinding halt. Most of you know I'm not a huge fan of our current governor who sits in the seat, but under these circumstances, when he's in there making the calls, that's for the betterment and the safety of our state, our citizens, and our communities, you have to abide by it. And I know this fishing has pissed a lot of people off, but it'll get back open, and we'll be back fishing in a few weeks. And you know, the rest of the show, we're going to have some phone conversations with some folks out there who have been getting it done, and we have some things to look forward to. We're going to have Shane Magnuson on later on the show, and we're going to talk about A few days ago, he put 4 springers in the boat, one of the best days he's had in a very long time. Had it dialed in on that day and really had a spectacular day of fishing. Going to talk about how and why he was so effective, and we're also going to talk about what this means to have this closure up until possibly the 9th, and a reopener of that. So what does that look like for that tail end of that Springer opportunity when it was supposed to close the 10th? And then if you remember, we have a 3 days a week reevaluation process that we go through to extend the season out. The closer we get to that April 20th to May 1st, it could be just fantastic Springer opportunities. So take the good with the bad. Look at the things we don't get to do, but then also look ahead to the things we do get to do. Everybody do their part. If you think I'm crazy, I'm sure the numbers will blow up here and you guys can tell me what you think, and I'll get back to them later on. I'm just trying to keep it in perspective. It's 2 weeks. How many days were you truly going to go fishing? And, you know, if you're mad, I get it. But with that, let's just try to make the best of it we can and move forward. We do not want to continue to spread this out into our rural communities, into our senior rural communities, and take a chance of, doing something that we could have avoided. So that's where I'm at on that one. Okay, moving ahead. The North of Falcon meetings have and are continuing, and if you're frustrated with the lack of information, perhaps you're just not finding it online, and you just don't need to go any further than the WDFW website. Go under the news announcements, or go and look for the North of Falcon process continues. WDFW webpage, fishing and shellfishing, 2020 North of Falcon public meeting schedule. It's there. It's there in bold print. You scroll down to the current date, and as those dates come up, they will attach a live link for the live stream web presentation, and it also has supplemental information with all the PowerPoint presentations. You can see all the numbers that they're talking about, and the plans or the models that they're going to be putting together for those meetings. And those, a lot of these have comment opportunities through the end of April. So we're not quite done with North of Falcon. There's still plenty of decisions to be made on modeling these seasons. We'll have Larry Phillips on in a little bit talking about WDFW, the closure, and we'll talk about some of this North of Falcon process that has been going on, even though the meetings have been closed to the public, but they are streamed online, and you can find that information if you truly want to check it out. Especially if you're going to be sitting home the next couple of weeks, it behooves you to go ahead and log in, check out the meetings, and listen to the content, read the information, read the presentations, and it basically lines out how they're divvying up the fisheries that we can look forward to in Puget Sound, Grays Harbor, Columbia River, statewide fisheries that are up and coming. So that information is out there. You need to track it down and go find it. With that, already covered all the things coming up between mid-April and around the 1st of May. Lots of opportunities, so let's do our due diligence. Let's follow suit and doing the best we can. Let's flatten that curve, and let's get our fisheries back open in a timely manner. I want to remind everybody that we have a few days left for your multi-season tag. I put a post on our Facebook page here not too long ago, yesterday or last night, reminding you that the deadline is in fact March 31st. And you want to get that in if you're an avid hunter and have not ever put in for your multi-season tag, either deer or elk. It's a $6 fee to submit your application. If you get drawn, you have the option to purchase just your standard tag, whichever weapon of choice you utilize, or you get that multi-season. Last season, Barnum and I broke it down, and I believe, and I tried to find my notes, but I wasn't able to, I believe when it comes to deer hunting both east and west side, going after blacktail, whitetail, and mule deer, it gives you about 118 to 120 days season that you have opportunity on. If you're a bona fide archery hunter, that gives you an entire over 3 months, 4 months to utilize your bow and go after deer on both sides of the mountain on different opportunities. That being said, last year I ended up killing my blacktail out of a tree stand with my shotgun because I had a multi-season tag. And so you pay the application fee, then you can decide if you get drawn. And remember, the last 2 years they drew tags, and they had tags left over for both deer and elk. Now they put the deer multi-season tags on sale on a one announcement. They were gone in less than a minute, I believe. as far as the vendors that were putting them out electronically. But the deer tags, they still remained, and I believe by the time they got done last year, we still had leftover multi-season deer tags that you could have purchased if you didn't get drawn. So it is an option. It is an option to extend your season, and Barnum and I have talked to quite a few folks over the last couple of years that have taken advantage of that, and it has helped them to go ahead and get their deer later in the season if they weren't successful in early or even late modern rifles. So just food for thought. You know, put in for it, nothing to lose, earn some points, and then also be looking as we roll into April here, and other deadlines are going to be coming up, but you got to put in for your other tags on your specialty hunts as well. So, all right, I'm going to try to catch up on some of our messages here. There's a ton of them. Josh is kind of looking at them. Not sure if what I went off on my little rant here, if I'm going to piss a lot of people off or if I can get some support for that. It's just kind of where I'm at again with this COVID thing. What we need to do as anglers, you know, take a breath, look out for one another, and we'll get through this. And before too long, we're going to be back to fishing. So, okay, with that, I'm actually on time, Josh. How about that? We're going to jump out for a quick break. And, oh, nope. One more thing to remind you of. We are still planning our Roosevelt Kokanee Roundup, okay, June 4, 5, and 6. Over at Lake Roosevelt, we're staying at staying in Electric City on Banks Lake, either the Sky Deck Motel, which is only $85 a night per room, typically $135, or the Cooley Playland Campground, which tent site or RV hookup site right along the water, $30 a night for your RV site with hookups. You want to come over there, join us for the Kokanee Roundup. It's a 3-day event. Max Lure Pro staff will be there. We're going to put on free seminars on how to fish Roosevelt Lake for kokanee, triploids, and walleye. We're going to teach you how to fish Banks Lake for walleye. They're there putting on the seminars for free. We'll have tons of giveaways, rods, tons of Max gear. We got some bait and things that we'll be giving away. I'm still coupling together all the sponsorship giveaways, but we're going to have free prizes to give away. You are responsible to pay your way over there, pay for your room and your food and all that, but it's an opportunity to bring folks together, fish together out on bodies of water that you're not familiar with, learn from the pros so that you're not, you know, last time we did this, we had folks drive up from Oregon, joined us over there. They learned a ton from the pros giving seminars back then, and then they're able to take what they learn and go out on the water, and folks are out there fishing side by side. Weather should be beautiful. Let's hope this COVID thing is done and gone. We can still plan on getting over there. So go to our Facebook page. It's pinned to the top. You can jump on board and reserve your room, reserve your campsite, just to let us know that you're going to join us. We're taking a head count. As we get through COVID and we get closer to that date, rooms will start filling up, campsites will start filling up. So want to take advantage of it and at least get registered to join us. It's going to be a couple great days event and plenty of fish to catch. And we hope that you guys can come and enjoy and then take home a cooler full of fish based on what you've learned and have a good time with Fish Hunt Northwest over there on the east side. Okay, now with that, now, of course, I'm running a little bit over. Doesn't matter. We are going to jump out for a quick break. When we come back, we're going to have Larry Phillips on, Region 6 Director for WDFW. We're going to kind of get through this fishing closure from their perspective. We're also going to talk about some of the North Falcon stuff going on. We're going to talk about some things we have to look forward to as we lift the restrictions and we are allowed once again to get back on the water. So Larry Phillips, WDFW Region 6 Director, when we come back right here after this break.
Marine is the one-stop shop for the Pacific Northwest angler. Whether you are looking for a small skiff to fish the Sound or rivers or a huge offshore tuna machine, Defiance Marine has it. At Defiance Marine, be sure to power your boat with a Honda outboard package. Take advantage of the reliability and 5-year top-to-prop warranty on your Honda outboards. Our service department is always here to help and serve you as the customer. Did you know Defiance Marine has boat financing experts to help get you the best term rates on your new boat purchase? If you need financing for that new boat, call us today. We guarantee the best price, best service on a repower for your current boat. Defiance Marine is a Honda Premier dealership and one of the largest on the West Coast. Defiance Marine also carries all the gear that you will need. Everything from auxiliary kicker motors to fishing tackle and bait. Defiance Marine has certified technicians that are top-notch at their job. Some of the best in the Pacific Northwest at evaluating your boat issues and problems. Stop in today or give us a call for all your needs at Defiance Marine.
At Metal Supermarkets, we understand your need for fast access to a wide variety of metals, so we've made it easy. Our network of stores carries a wide variety of metal in all different types, shapes, sizes, and grades, with no required minimum order size. Who could ask for more? Simply tell us your dimensions online, on the phone, or in store, and we'll cut or process the metal to your desired size, often while you wait. We offer same-day service and can deliver the metal right to your door or job site. We even source hard-to-find metals, so no matter what you're looking for, Metal Supermarkets can provide it for you. And we're conveniently located with brick-and-mortar stores in Seattle and Portland, so you can check out our extensive stock for yourself. Superior customer service is guaranteed. Quality service from real people who know metal. We are the small quantity metal experts. To place an order, simply call a store to talk to one of our knowledgeable customer service representatives. Fill out a quote request online, order off of our e-commerce website, or visit one of our many locations and pick out the metal you want. Whether you're a small or large business, government, homeowner, or hobbyist, we make it easy for you to buy the exact metal and just the amount you need. We've been doing this for over 30 years, so we know how to get it done. Metal Supermarkets, the convenience stores for metal. Visit or call a Metal Supermarket store near you today.
What if there was a smarter way to search for your new home? Introducing the Better Homes and Gardens real estate website and mobile app. This revolutionary new search tool puts your needs first. Narrow your search to what matters most to your family, like school data, school districts, and even walk scores. Get easy access to your local affiliated agent, as well as unique and local insights about neighborhoods and properties directly within the app. With synced and saved preferences, you'll always pick up wherever you left off. Get your smarter search started today with Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate.
Hey, welcome back, Fish on Northwest. Wayne England live here in studio all by myself. Well, I got Josh over there in the corner, wrapped in Visqueen for his protection, because he doesn't know where I've been. So that's kind of how we're doing it. Barnum is home watching, and we are going to try and answer as many questions on here. Really scrolling through the comments during the commercial break. I really appreciate all the support in the direction this thing is going and the reality of what most of us need to be doing. So one in particular individual who had his hand in a lot of meetings over this last week trying to help WDFW decide which direction they needed to go with these decisions that landed unfavorable for many, but I believe now, as we've had a couple days for the dust to settle, a lot of folks are starting to figure out that this may be the right thing to do for the betterment of all. So Larry Phillips, Director, Region 6, just down the road, a little bit south of me, and joining us on the phone. How are you doing tonight, Larry?
Hey, Dwayne, I'm doing well, thanks.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time. I know you've been working from home, as most staffers of WDFW have been, and pretty common with a lot of work environments right now for many folks. But you've probably had the phone and the computer glued to yourself the last several days, and how this situation developed. So let's kind of back up a little bit from your perspective. You know, when did WDFW kind of start going down that road of, well, we have a decision to make here based on what the governor is asking of the citizens of Washington to do. How do we as a state agency assist in helping them reach their goal? When did those conversations kind of start happening?
Yeah, appreciate that, Dwayne. I've been with the agency for 22 years, and I would categorize the last 3 or 4 days as probably the most challenging of my career.
Yeah, I believe it.
Clearly, you prefaced it by saying it affected a bunch of us. Well, it really affects everyone. This is unprecedented. There's not a piece of this that a spot in the state that this doesn't touch. You guys, know me. A lot of your listeners know me. I spend a lot of my time in Waco. I spend a lot of time in my boat. I get it. Yeah. I get why we live in the Northwest. We appreciate the opportunity to be outside and partake in the Northwest traditions that are fishing so it's not it's been some real tough decisions. So I can back up to the Razor Clam dig on the 21st, 22nd. That was moving real quick. Clearly, the national picture and the world conversation going on with coronavirus was materializing. We were still trying to figure out which way was forward, where the brakes were at, when we needed to do that. The agency, WDFW, is an agency that's responsible for managing natural resources. So we're really good at stock assessment. We're really good at developing seasons and opportunities that are consistent with those opportunities to make sure we're providing economic, social, and commitment to our conservation requirements also. So we started working down that road. We started reaching out to the folks out in the other sectors of management, which are county and state and CDC, relative to the public safety piece of this conversation. And, up until, just before the day before the clam dig, we were talking with the Pacific County and Grays Harbor County health officers, I guess that's their title. And, we were concerned, hey, we want to make sure we're doing the right thing here. And up until the last second, the coastal economies of Washington are so heavily dependent on folks coming out there and participating in those opportunities, especially in the wintertime, kind of a ghost town. And when we can offer a clam dig, it's a big deal, $20 to $40 million economic benefit to the community out there. So we really want to make sure we're making the right decisions there and getting the opportunities where we can, where we're able to do that. But we're going to rely on the other sister agencies for information about, whether that's a public safety and how they're going to respond to that. So, So that was when the day before the dig, we were good until, late in the day. And then the county officials decided, hey man, this could result in a significant increase in people out here. We've got no cases, coronavirus positive infections at this point, and boy, we really like to keep it that way. All the projections, where things moving fast. So the tough decision was made the day before to cancel that opportunity, and that was a tough decision. I mean, we got people with reservations. I got people calling me. In particular, a lady called me that 3 kids were home, two of them from college. They had a reservation for 3 months out there. They were planning to go out and do some digging, and it was a real tough one. And, the question was, hey, can I get my money back? And the answer was absolutely, you can get your money back. It's a 3-day license for those folks that did that.
Right.
And so we also tried to hook her up with Dan Ayers and get some information about, hey, there's some other opportunity out here, oysters and hard clams potentially that you can go do since you're already heading out there. And I don't know how it ended up, but so those are real tough decisions for us to make, but moving real quick.
Well, there's the initial onset of that clam dig, which caught everybody by surprise, and a lot of folks were like, "Oh my gosh, this is ridiculous, uncalled for." But when you look at the gravity of the situation, again, as I kind of opened up with the matter of fact approach of that, people given opportunity will show up in droves, and then we have a lot of people dumping into these little communities and bringing it with them, unbeknownst to themselves. So I have to think, as you guys walk through this process and all the meetings you're having, Kelly Cunningham and of course Director Sue Swin and all you leads of the different regions, that you would have to have conversations in the realm of financial impact this is going to have to the agency. obviously with the majority of folks having to renew their fishing licenses, and Fish Washington has become very popular for folks willing to just step up and pay for that, $69 or $70. And here we are last week of March, and you guys would see a huge uptick in your monies coming into the agency. And I bet a lot of that's going to be on hold for right now. But you guys had to probably try to figure out, hey, how we got to be able to get through this. We're going to take a significant financial hit. What does that look like?
Yeah, so maybe just to wrap that last piece up, we had the folks showed up out at the coast anyways. The response was crazy. We had people everywhere. The counties were panicking. The response from that weekend of kind of spring break mentality was many of the cities and counties closed up and down the coast, closed those boat ramps and closed those the beaches to access.
Yeah.
So here we went back to the drawing board, and tough decision was made to take further action, which is closing state and DNR state parks and our lands. But to be honest with you, Dwayne, through all of the conversations we had, not one time was WDFW is going to lose out on license sales. This is commitment to our conservation commitments first.
Right.
Commitment to our public safety first, and working with our partners there. These were not easy decisions to make, but we're not in this alone. There's dozens of state agencies in a variety of different authorities that are making those tough decisions. And this is consistent with, at least our land closure initially was consistent with our other land management agencies, which is DNR and state parks.
Yeah.
So that was the first kind of, pretty extreme relative to historical decisions. We've never closed our access areas ever.
Most people reading that didn't exactly know what that meant.
Yeah.
I got to be honest, I read wilderness and water access areas will be closed. And then a couple paragraphs below that, you read current fishing and hunting that is open is not affected. And you're like, well, what in the heck does this mean, right? What line are we going down? So a little difficulty in deciphering that, but then ultimately a day later they came out with a full-on closure. Let's talk a little bit about, as we now have this closure, part of that is also the fact that you folks, as we have these fisheries that would currently be open, some of our salmon fisheries out in Puget Sound, steelhead fisheries still going on the coast, and of course our ocean fisheries, there has to be staffers that have the ability to be out there collecting data on these fisheries, because it's not just for the now, but it's for the future and your management on some of these fisheries too. So I have to think that closure also is in effect based on the fact that, you can't have people out there doing those tasks when everything is being forced to shut down. Am I kind of on point on that, in the difficulty of managing those fisheries when you can't have persons out on the ground?
So Dwayne, that's spot on. We've got fisheries that require an ESA permit, and those are for those Endangered Species Act for folks that might not know. But those are the permits that we get secure from the federal government after a rigorous review process of our statistical evaluation of how we're going to monitor those fisheries to make sure that we stay within the preseason expectations, right? Of how much fish we're going to catch, and those are critical, right? We can't operate fisheries without those permits. And when the governor's stay home, stay safe order came out, we started scrambling. And that was 3 days ago now. So really, we spent, sun up to sundown, and even afterwards, having discussions about what it meant, how that order would affect our ability to operate opportunities and our fisheries that were currently open. And the bottom line is that we don't have the ability or desire really to put staff out into those environments that are going to cause them potential health issues.
Yeah. So moving forward, so a number of these fisheries that we're talking about are quota based. Our blackmouth fisheries have dates that are attributed to them, albeit there's some quota involved. Our spring Chinook opportunity on the Columbia is quota based with some target dates. As we are now closed, God forbid this extends for 3 weeks and we don't have opportunity on the water, will you guys continue to have meetings and discuss the possibility of extending these seasons based on quota, meeting quota or having the opportunity to meet quota that was allotted and not necessarily hold it to a hard line on a calendar date?
Yeah, I haven't had that specific conversation. I see Gabe Miller asked the same question, and those are great questions. And I would love to say yes, and I would guess that, because I'm thinking about things like the Columbia River Spring Chinook fishery right now,
mm-hmm.
and those fisheries, and even winter blackmouth fisheries, those are fisheries that we monitor, and the end game is fish on the gravel.
Right.
So encounters of those fish in a variety of different fisheries at a variety of different times. Winter blackmouth fisheries, obviously, we're not just targeting fish that are going to come back this coming up year, but those are juvenile fish that are maybe 2-3 years old that we're going to subsequently come back as 4 and 5 year olds, that we're delaying the harvest of those fish or not having those impacts. So certainly in the model, it'll change the end game. It'll change the number of fish on the gravel. It'll change our opportunity, at least our potential to have discussions about some additional opportunity down the road.
Yeah.
So I would certainly bring that conversation up, and can't see why we wouldn't at least be able to entertain some additional opportunity down the road based on availability. Because we manage these fisheries based on a preseason expectation, and if those expectations and down to the quota, like you said, and if we don't catch that quota, then those fish opportunities still remain. So
yeah, they're still there. Well, that's good to hear. I'm looking forward to you guys having those discussions, and hopefully information will come out in the next week or two of what the proposals are, depending when we are given the green light to get back on the water. And just for clarification, because social media can be both a blessing and a curse, a lot of banter out there, folks kind of irritated, assuming that the co-managers are still out there on the water in force and conducting fisheries. And I figured out a long time ago and have read plenty of much information that would indicate they have also closed some of their access points to both public and within their own communities, and have pulled all their fishermen off the water. They are not conducting things as we know it. Is that correct or accurate?
So I haven't had a day-to-day. I mean, we're checking in with the tribes, frequently with their leadership, and they're struggling just like we are. In fact, they're struggling more.
Yeah.
The remote locations that don't have the infrastructure, they clearly don't have access to the medical, the infrastructure that we have.
Right.
So difficult to say exactly what's happening out there from a food standpoint and from a market standpoint. Clearly, they're some of their fisheries are commercial in nature, and those markets are tough to deal with right now. With my understanding, Macaw's closed, the reservation is closed, Quilly is closed, La Push is closed. So it's not business as usual.
Yeah, right.
Are they conducting some CNS fisheries? I'm sure they are, to provide food for their members. And but it's clearly not anywhere near like we had it a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And those impacts are accounted for. We have preseason plans and that are developed to meet our escapement objectives. And so fingers crossed that we can get this thing wrapped up and get everybody back on the water soon, consistent with preseason expectations. I mean, I'm thinking about Forks, Washington, and the this time of year. Dwayne, you and I have fished out there together in March and April, and what a great opportunity to get in the water and see one of the strongest remaining wild steelhead populations in the lower 48. That town, there's nobody in that town right now.
Right. Yep. Well, let's stay away from those small towns and leave them alone for a few weeks till we get this taken care of, and then we'll all get back on the water, and we'll have quota to go after. So, I mean, there's a glimmer of light by the time the dust settles on this thing. We get back out on Puget Sound for a short window of opportunity. We get back down the Columbia for springers. We open our ocean fisheries back up, and then all those things mentioned at the start of the show. We have shrimping to look forward to, opening day of trout season, halibut opportunities, lingcod in Puget Sound. I mean, the list goes on and on. So hopefully we can get through this. Everybody stay safe. Larry, really appreciate you jumping on tonight. I know you guys have been just busier than ever, and your phone will continue to blow up, and I'm sure the hate mail will continue to come in, but you guys keep doing what you're doing, and hope we can all get through this.
All right, Dwayne, thanks a lot.
You bet, buddy. Take care.
You too.
All right, Mr. Larry Phillips, Region 6 Director, WDFW. This is not an easy task for them, and I know a lot of folks are mad at them as well, and that's just part of the nature of being an employee with WDFW. You're not making very many people happy all the time. So, ran a little bit long, but no big deal. Hey, we got a great recipe of the week. Mousse bolognese with pappardelle pasta. Got to actually eat a majority of this when Chef Kelly and Sheri finished this recipe a couple weeks ago, and I'm telling you, if you don't have mousse, no big deal. Any venison is going to work for this. And if you actually don't have venison, if you have some beef, ground beef in your freezer, pay attention to this recipe. This particular pasta dish has now become one of my favorites. Would prefer it to be done with venison, so if you have any type of venison and or lucky enough to have mousse, then by all means. But mousse bolognese here on Fish Hunt Northwest, recipe of the week, when we come back right after this break here on FHN.
Allied boats are built by West Coast fishermen for West Coast fishermen. Deep V 21-degree dead rise at the transom guarantees a smooth ride no matter the conditions. Allied offers all of our boats with Honda outboard packages so that you can take full advantage of the reliability and 5-year top-to-prop warranty from your Honda outboard. Allied boats range from 19 to 32 foot in length, so no matter what type of heavy gauge boat you are looking for, we have it for you. All of our Corsair 21 foot and larger designs come standard with reverse chine that is welded inside and out with no extrusions below the waterline, so that you will never have to worry about corrosion problems down the road. Get out on the water today in a boat that you can trust and enjoy with Allied Boats. Contact us at Allied Boats today to learn much more about our incredible fishing machines.
Everyone, welcome back to Fish Hunt Northwest. We're here in the kitchen with Chef Kelly for the recipe of the week. And I see noodles. I see white wine.
We're making a pasta today.
Okay, finally.
Yeah, we're going to make a mousse bolognese pasta.
Wow, you sound excited.
Well, you know, I don't get to cook much mousse, you know, and it's a new product, you know, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is mousse tough normally?
No, you know, mousse is a little tiny bit of gaminess to it, but you know, I wouldn't say it's off-putting at all. I think it's a great protein. And I actually tried some this morning, and I was like, wow.
So just some ground mousse is what you're using. Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay, speaking about ground mousse, so I already have a pound of ground mousse already browning up here. You can see I got a little bit of color to it.
Yeah.
Okay, and I have over here, I have some celery, some carrots, some onions, about one of each, you know, like a rib of celery, one whole onion, and one small carrot. And then I also have some pancetta in there.
What's pancetta? Is that like a ham or?
Pancetta is an Italian bacon.
Oh.
And it's unsmoked, and it's just delicious smelling.
It does smell really good.
Yeah. Okay, so I added 3 ounces of tomato paste. And tomato paste needs to be cooked a little bit. So need to just kind of saute it up just a little bit.
Grind it in there.
Yeah, get it on all up.
Mix
Grind
it all
up
together.
in there, yeah.
Isn't this called the Trinity?
That's called mirepoix.
Well,
Trinity would be the Cajun mirepoix.
oh,
Okay?
okay. Well, I just
So-
remember from another time you said the
Right.
Trinity.
So
Yeah.
you can get rid of that pan for me.
Sure.
Awesome. Okay, to that we're also going to add about a big heaping tablespoon of garlic. Okay, I'm gonna saute it up just till I smell a little fragrance of it.
All right.
Good.
So how much did you add?
A tablespoon of garlic.
Okay.
Okay. And to that I'm gonna add, off the heat,
Why off the heat, Chef?
because
We can
sometimes
remind people.
it will flare up and light on fire. And sometimes if you're pouring a stream right into there and boom, blows up in your hand. I've only seen it happen one time, but
there-
I don't want somebody to go, oh, Kelly, you didn't warn me. I
There
warned
goes
you.
your beard since it's longer now.
Oh yeah, and I mean, geez.
We don't want to mess with that beard.
Can't mess with the beard.
No way.
Yeah. Okay, so we're also going to add one bay leaf. This is like the biggest bay leaf on the planet. Bay leaves need to be on your, I have this in my pantry. It's just
Okay. And that's
A
just for
non-negotiable.
flavor though, right?
Yeah.
And then you take it out. You don't want to eat bay leaves.
yeah. If you really want to have some fun, go look up on Chipotle and type in bay leaf Chipotle, and there's all kinds of people who go, oh my God, I have a tree leaf in my burrito. It's like, okay, it's a bay leaf, calm down.
But it doesn't taste well.
Right?
Good.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that was beef stock.
Okay.
And I use this product here. This is a bouillon. That's 2 cups of water and then about 2 tablespoons of the bouillon base.
Okay, yeah, this is much more flavorful than the carton.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I'm going to add also 1 cup of milk. And that seems kind of odd. I'm going to kill it all. It seems kind of odd, but it adds a little creaminess to it. And there you go.
And that's whole milk.
That's whole milk.
Okay.
Okay. And we're going to add just a little bit of pepper.
All right.
Okay. And then this is going to simmer for about 2.5 hours. So just simmer on low. And doesn't mean crank up the heat.
So I'm guessing you already made this morning?
Oh yeah. No, we're going to chat for about 2.5 hours. Yeah. All good in the hood. Okay. So I already started this. That's like you said. I have it right here. I started this morning.
Okay.
That's going to be going about 2.5 hours. And it's super tender, ready to go. Okay, in this pan here, we're going to have a nice hot pan. Add a little extra virgin olive oil.
Okay.
I'm going to add some more garlic. Start with. I'm going to add just a little bit more.
One more?
No, I'm good.
All right.
Okay. Okay, then we're going to add a nice big ladle of bolognese. Ooh. There you go.
I think that's a hot pan.
Maybe 2 ladles.
Smells so delicious.
Right? Okay. And we're going to add about 2 handfuls. So this is my.
And what kind of noodles are those?
These are pappardelle noodles, and
Pappardelle.
yeah. And all I do is I pre-cook these, and then I toss them a little bit of olive oil to keep them from sticking together.
Okay.
I mean.
And those are al dente.
Yes.
Yeah.
And make sure
you
you
don't
cook
want to
them.
overcook those.
Yeah, because they're going to have a little bit of cooking here.
Okay.
Nice big
Wow.
healthy spoonful of butter. About 2 tablespoons of grated parm. Okay, here's one of the other secrets of Italian chefs is that they actually save and use their pasta water. Why? Because
They save their pasta water.
they save some of their pasta water because Inside the pasta water, it has a little bit of salt. It has a little bit of starch from the pasta that releases.
Oh.
Yeah.
Look I learn something new every day from you.
That's right. I'm gonna start charging next.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna add just a little bit more parm. We're probably gonna kill this. So 3 tablespoons of parm.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
Okay, and just wait for this to come together. And if you want a little creamier, you can add a little bit more butter, and I am gonna add a little more butter. Just a
Took
touch.
it away from you.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
See, it has a little bit of
splurging.
creaminess now to it, a little bit of flavor from the parm and salt from the parm. And we're gonna finish just with a little bit of fresh cracked pepper.
Get your workout in.
All right, and we're good.
Good to go. It's a nice looking pasta too.
Right?
Yeah.
And we're just gonna garnish with a little bit of shaved parm on top, a little bit of chives.
A little bit more.
Yeah.
A little chives. You
Look at
really
that.
chopped those things. Wow.
Can you smell that?
Yes, I can.
Yeah.
So while we dig into this, because I really am going to eat the heck out of this one.
Right? No more keto.
We'll go ahead, no more. We'll go ahead and throw it back to you guys in the studio.
Hey, welcome back in studio. Yep, just me sitting here still. Josh over in the corner. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Great recipe, absolutely delicious. I have yet to find a recipe Chef does that is not delicious, so give that one a try. I will separate that out as a standalone video here in the next day or two, re-release it on our Facebook and our YouTube channel, and you'll have the recipe and the whole thing. And give that a try. You're gonna have a couple weeks probably hanging out the house. Great opportunity to try new recipes. If you don't have any venison, again, go to the store with the other things you're going to purchase and get some ground beef and make it happen. Okay, with that, we'll jump out for a quick break. We come back, we're going to get our buddy Shane Magnuson, Upper Columbia Guide Service, on the phone. He had an amazing day about 3 days ago or so on the Columbia, chasing springers, put 4 in the box, had just an unbelievable morning. We're going to talk about exactly how he was able to accomplish that feat, break down the exact methods and techniques and what he was putting in front of them fish to get them to snap, and also what this really means as we look ahead, this current closure extending into a latter part of the season, how good possibly springer fishing can get on that Columbia River when we are looking at dates around April 20th to May 1st or so. So we'll jump out for a break. We'll have Shane Magnuson on the phone when we come back right here on FHN.
A Northwest favorite for almost 40 years, Arima boats are manufactured with pride right here in Bremerton, Washington. Arima Boats offers all of our boats with Honda outboard packages so that you can take full advantage of the reliability and 5-year top-to-prop warranty from your Honda outboard. With literally thousands of Arima boats on the water throughout the Pacific Northwest, Arima boats are a proven hull design that offers incredible fuel economy and all of the amenities that a serious angler is looking for. All Arima boats are built without any structural wood materials. That is why we back our boats with a lifetime warranty. All of our Arima boats are designed to maximize deck space while also providing ample seating. Contact us today at Arima Boats for all your boating needs and let us help you get out on the water.
Hi, Dwayne.
Hey, welcome back, Fish Hunt Northwest. Dwayne England in studio, flying solo this evening, which is to be expected with everything going on. Barnum is home. I think he's watching, though he hasn't made many comments tonight. So who knows what he's got going, but wish him and his family well. And we should all be back together in a few weeks once we get through this. But with that, we have some spring Chinook to talk about. Yeah, we can't go after them. And yes, after today, fishing daylight hours, the Columbia, even on the Oregon side, to coincide with Washington's decision to close fishing, is now closed. So all of the Columbia River is closed for salmon and steelhead, and guides are not fishing. So in the meantime, they can clean their boat, get ready, because at some point it's going to open back up. And there may be potential to have a few more days out there where we're putting 4 fish in the box. Not many have done it, but this next guy has. Shane Magnuson, Upper Columbia Guide Service. You, my friend, stuck 4 of them in the box just a few days ago. How did that feel?
That felt pretty good. That was a win.
I can imagine. When's the last time you did that with springers?
In March. I can't recall a March day like that.
Yeah.
Real early April maybe, but March was a good one.
Yeah. Well, hats off to you for pulling off that one. Anything special about that day? Did you just happen to find fish that were willing to bite? Did you change up anything? What's your normal routine? How'd you find them?
You know, we got into a spot where I know it's a good traveling path to begin with, and then we just got on a good group of fish that wanted to stay biting.
Yeah.
And kept herring in front of them and kept the routine simple, and they just kept going for us, really. It wasn't doing anything too special, really, just on good biters.
Yeah. Just a basic herring brine, no color, just fishing natural flash herring, and whole or cut plug?
You know, we were trolling cut plug bait, and I was running colored bait. First thing in the morning in the dark, we were getting bit off blue dyed herring. But as soon as that sun came out, I was running chartreuse also, the chartreuse dyed stuff.
Gotcha.
And when the sun hit the water, that chartreuse herring started to click. So I did see the change, which was kind of nice to see. It really puts some of the notes together that you're always trying to, what do you run in certain circumstances, and that seeing that all in the same day really was really nice and hopefully helpful in the future.
Yeah. Any particular flasher, Big Al's flasher working better for you that day than the other ones, or was it just kind of whatever?
You know, obviously I got to give a shout out to Yakima Bait with putting that last fish in the box with the Big Al's fish flash and everything. That talk about probably the most consistent herring triangle flasher out there, and a lot of people can back me on that. But that day, I also have to talk a little bit about Leo flashers. They did put the first 3 fish in the box, and I was pulling them inline, just like a Big Al. So those did seem to help us out on that day.
Yeah. Wow. Fantastic. Any added sense to your herring when you're brining them up, or are you just running full-on natural herring with just some color, like the UVs and the chartreuse and even that blue that you had out there for a while?
You know, I always soak my herring in scent. You know, I'm kind of a scent fanatic. Being what I do.
Yep.
But I was pulling bait out of the brine and cutting it and preparing it to fish. But then I was throwing it in a little side Ziploc or a side tub and throwing some of our Graybill salmon scent on there and a little herring oil. And I was just cycling bait out of that tub. Letting them just constantly soak, keeping them fresh. Obviously, the salmon formula has a little anise in it, and we know these early springers like anise. So, you know, that was just kept the routine simple and consistent.
Did you have to fish them through a tide change, or did you get them consistently all on one side of the tide? You know,
we don't. Where I was fishing is really kind of above the tidal movement,
right?
But I always feel there's something to do with it, even though they're above that movement.
Mm-hmm.
And I did hit 2 fish in our first 2 passes, first thing in the morning, which is not uncommon, you know, that morning bite.
Yeah.
But then we went quite a few hours without a bite. And then about that 1:30 time, which was pretty close to a tide change, we hit 2 fish and 2 passes again.
Oh,
so
interesting.
The whole time in between, the fish were there and I was on them. They went off for quite a while, and then all of a sudden they were back again. So,
yeah. Well, it brings up a good point in that you are fishing above where you really have tidal influence, but those fish, nonetheless, are still influenced by tide, if that makes sense. So even as they come upriver, they're still kind of on that tide cycle of time throughout the day, and it can promote them buggers to go on the snap based on what they've been, you know, accustomed to the previous days as they've been migrating upriver. So, you know, good fishermen like yourself and many that I talk to always pay attention to tide and the time of tides, and you know what the tide's going to do, even if you're not in tide-influenced water. Is that fair to say?
Oh, definitely. Mm-hmm. You kind of keep an eye on it, and, you know, judging it that far up the river, you may be off on the time an hour or so.
Sure.
But I always kind of try to keep an eye on it, so I'm within reason and got a pretty good idea.
What's the turbidity of the Columbia right now? What's the visibility? Pretty good?
You know, it's real clean.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you what the number is, but
should be clean.
I know we've got a few feet of visibility. I mean, it's real clean.
Did you get most of your strikes trolling downriver with the current or upriver against the current? How much weight and what speed are you trolling?
You know, we're finding these fish in 16 to 20 foot of water and downhill trolling.
Yep.
And so we're running 4 and 5 ounces of lead.
Okay.
And dragon bottom. You know, that was the biggest key. Almost kind of like walleye fishing, which you guys hear me talk about.
Yeah.
I'm bouncing bottom with those lead.
Right.
And getting it in the dirt.
Well, that was a pretty impressive day, no doubt.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that, and hopefully we can do it some more. We get through all this.
Yeah. So, what's your projections as we move forward? Obviously, it's going to be closed down for a couple weeks, and thereby persons aren't out fishing. We're not grabbing any of the quota that we are entitled to, and And I don't know if you caught our segment just a little bit ago, but we had it with Larry Phillips, WDFW, and on these quota-based fisheries, we should have our opportunity to go after that quota. And as you and I talked a few days ago, the deeper we get into April, holy smokes, we could be looking at a really good opportunity with an abundance of fish in the river, water temperature ideal, and that time of year where the fishing could be actually pretty good. Are you looking forward to that reopening and opportunity, thinking that all those stars could align and we could be looking at some really good springer fishery?
I'm very hopeful. That's, like you said, we're obviously not at our quota, and so we should get some time. Something to keep in note, if we do get some time mid to late April on these fish, the fishing is typically so good at that point that we may not get a lot of days because we'll reach our quota pretty fast.
Sure.
But those days we do get, fishing should be spectacular, and everybody should really kind of keep an eye on it, because that'd be a great time to put some fish in the freezer.
Yeah, we get the green light to get on the water. You better continue to stay away from work and get down there and fish. So
yeah.
I can't come back to work yet. I got springers to go get. So I'll see you next week. Yeah. Anyway.
Yep.
Well, hey, buddy, I appreciate you taking the time. Again, phenomenal day you had out there, and other days as well. You've been putting a few fish in the boat here and there. I've been keeping an eye on you, and if and when we get back on the water, did you cancel a lot of your trips? You have some openings coming up, or are you filling up your seats with anticipation?
I pushed, I know they're talking about reevaluation on April 8th, but I pushed all my trips off till the 15th of April.
Okay.
To kind of give some leeway to see what happens. After that, I've got trips in the books and a few openings. Obviously, everybody that's in the books knows that they're in the books to secure their spot, but things could change depending on what this does.
Right. If people want to get a hold of you and check out your openings, what's the best way to track you down?
Go on my website, uppercolumbiaguide.com, and shoot me an email. My phone number's on there. Of course, you can always follow us on Facebook. We try to stay up with stuff, even if we're not on the water.
Perfect. Always a pleasure, my friend. We'll stay in touch, and might even try to sneak aboard your boat at some point.
Sounds good.
Always have a good time with you. All right, buddy. Take care. Talk to you soon.
All right. You too.
All right. There you go, Shane Magnuson, Upper Columbia Guide Service. I tell you what, we usually connect at least once or twice a year. Typically when we head over for fish camp, annual Ed Imons Fish Camp over there in the Upper Columbia, the Dalles area, I'll jump for a day into his boat, and it is never a problem getting into fish. That guy is extremely dialed. Doesn't matter if he's fishing the Columbia River for Chinook, fall, summertime, spring, walleye fisheries. He's got them dialed on the course of those big kokanee over there at Roosevelt, and some other kokanee and trout fisheries on that east side. So definitely one to keep track of, definitely one to connect with and get you and your family out to spend a great day on the water with Shane. All right, with that, we'll jump out for a quick break. We come back, going to get our buddy Bill Monroe Jr. of Bill Monroe Outdoors on the phone. He guides out of Oregon. Much like me, he spends his full-time duties in another realm. He is a driver for AMR ambulance service, and is dealing with this COVID-19 to some level down there in the area he covers as well. And also, the other side of his world is, in fact, extremely involved with fisheries and NSIA and guiding as much as he can, as much time as he can put on the water. He has that boat out there, and very successful in the Columbia River on a number of fisheries. Spring Chinook is one of his favorites. Obviously, he's off the water for now, but things to look forward to, glass half full kind of an attitude. We're going to talk about how the COVID-19 and closure of fisheries is affecting persons like Bill Monroe and other guides out of that Oregon region. We come back right here on FHN.
Defiance boats are built without any structural wood materials. That is why we back our boats with a lifetime warranty. All of our Defiance boats come standard with large fish boxes that are fully insulated so that you can ice your fish properly all day. Defiance boats feature a 21 to 22 degree dead rise at the transom and a large reverse chine for incredible handling and stability offshore. Defiance boats are foam, flotation filled, and unsinkable for the ultimate in safety while fishing offshore. Defiance boats feature fuel-efficient hull designs with large fuel tank capacity so that you can have maximum fuel range for making long offshore runs completely safe and affordable. All Defiance boats come standard with self-bailing decks for improved safety while at sea. Defiance Boat offers all our boats with Honda outboard packages so that you can take full advantage of the reliability and 5-year top-to-prop warranty from your Honda outboard. Defiance Boats for all your boating needs, and let us help you get out on the water.
Hey, welcome back in studio, Fish Hunt Northwest. Finding our way through a live show, believe it or not, even with everything else going on. Felt compelled to try and bring you guys some relevant content, and I appreciate all the comments, lots of interactivity this evening, for good reason. We got a lot of things we're talking about. Not all of it's doom and gloom, but unfortunately a percentage of it is. But somebody who is never doom and gloom, Mr. Bill Monroe Jr., Bill Monroe Outdoors. How you doing tonight, buddy?
What is going on, Dwayne? How are you?
Oh, I'm good. We're just trying to find our way through this. I actually titled this show, Here We Go, COVID-19 Fishing Closure Show. So that's
and you are quarantining in your studio, right?
I am.
Oh, how horrible.
Yeah, I know. Wow. You know what's kind of funny is as you look at media overall and all these shows, these national shows and everything, and even our local news stations and our radio stations, and everybody has set up with remote sites. They're doing the best they can with single look camera. Some of them aren't even high def. You got these people performing these shows from their houses and their bedrooms. There's a baby's crib next to them when they're doing the weather. I mean, it's kind of crazy, and yet here we are. This is how we live each and every week. So, not a huge change for us, and we're still bringing a quality production each and every week.
Yeah, we got this.
Yeah.
It's funny. I'm going to go back to Shane real quick. I actually was fishing with a couple of buddies that day, and every time I go down and make a pass, Shane would have a fish on, and it was killing me because I wasn't in my boat. I was just hanging out fun fishing.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, there goes Shane again. There goes Shane again.
Yeah.
And we didn't get out there till late, but that first early morning stuff was like, finally some action was starting to happen up where we were, and that's what I've been waiting for. And now all of a sudden, we're not going to fish.
When you and I talked yesterday, when you and I talked yesterday with the after the announcement of Washington had happened.
What's going on?
We were kind of talking about some of the closures and boat ramp limitations within the Oregon side, and you're like, well, if they leave it open on the Oregon side, we can still go fish, but I'm not taking clients. If I decide to go out, I'm going to take a buddy or two. We're going to keep our distancing.
Yeah.
But, hey, let's back up and look at it from your perspective, much like me. You work in the private sector for AMR, and you're dealing with this stuff at work, right?
Yep. I kept a job that I've really kind of, it's gotten me through a lot of years in life. I'm an EMTP just like everybody else, and I am there on the front lines of, we are Clackamas County 911. We are the southern metro, good portion of the Portland metro area. We are the southern pretty much chunk of it.
Yeah.
We cover a lot of area. We go from Wilsonville all the way up into Lake Oswego, and then all the way out to Government Camp, which sits right on top of Mount Hood, and we call that our triangle of death. And it's huge. We cover this massive area, and so we have a lot of work to do to be able to get that done. And during this whole, coronavirus 19 and everything that we're trying to do to get through this, we've actually seen a, knock on wood, a drop in call volume, which is great.
Right.
But the calls we do get are more serious now.
Right.
Because the people are not calling and using the 911 system as a primary care resource again, because that does happen a lot with our homeless and people who are less fortunate. Yep. But now it's like every call we get, we have to mask up, we have to gown up, the whole 9 yards.
Yep.
And it has gotten to be really stressful. And I'm not a big fan of it. We have not had a COVID-19 patient in any of the two ambulances that I rotate.
Yeah.
My medic rotates between a night crew and a day crew.
Right.
And we have not had a patient yet, but there has been some Clackamas County patients that have checked into hospitals that have tested positive, and that's just, it's only a matter of time.
Yeah, it's the tip of the iceberg. You would hope that within your jurisdiction, you don't end up having to interact with those patients and transport them in. But the reality is, it's probably just a matter of time. And much like us, even to go on a simple car collision, an MVA, motor vehicle accident, the guys don't get out of the rig without their mask, gloves, and glasses on. You can't talk if you go on an automatic fire alarm. You do not get out of the rig without your mask, glasses, and gloves on,
and it's
because you're going to
be one provider at a time until the scene is secure. Multnomah County, we also run the precipice of the Portland metro area is Multnomah County, and AMR's up there as well. I don't want to work up there at all, and that is a homeless crisis problem that really runs that program. But some of my buddies went on a leg pain call, and then patient got in the ambulance. He started coughing. He had a fever they didn't know about, and boom, the patient tested positive coronavirus. And now my buddies had to be quarantined.
We're exposed.
14 days.
Yep.
They were not allowed to leave any of their contained areas, and they're still there. And those hotel rooms are not fun to be in.
And this is this is how serious this can be, and that's why we take all the precautions that we do. And this is why we are faced with this closure of our fishing that we are so passionate about. So, not completely doom and gloom, but once I think I might have just lost
and like Shane was saying, it makes a lot of sense.
Once we get past this and can. You have to bear with me for a second. Of course, my earpiece died, so stand by, Bill.
I got you.
You can probably hear me, but I can't hear you, so just hold on 1 second while I get this changed out. See, Josh, this is why I decided to throw some extra batteries in here. What? No, that ain't going to work. Let me see. Let me plug this in, and there, I got you. Oh, perfect. Okay.
We're good to go.
Yeah, just like that. Quick battery change out.
This goes back to what Shane was talking. If Washington, and let's not get into the debacle yet about what Washington was doing to shut down an entire state fishery. Let's get into just the fact that after April 8th, if Washington sees fit that they're going to let it reopen, those are what we consider high quality days.
Right.
And when we set the Springer season, we thought a DPW, we called it, a days per week format was actually conceived, and we all agreed, boy, this could lead to some high quality fishing days. And sure enough, now they're not only going to make this come to reality, because we did set a Thursday, Friday, Saturday fishing, but it's going to actually come to fruition now by force. And that's because of the COVID-19 thing, which ties into fisheries. And now we have a thing where those high quality days are going to happen, and they're going to either happen like all at once, which is a real strong possibility.
Sure.
You're going to be out there. The Columbia River is going to be virtually full of spring Chinook, and the goal is escapement for those bad boys to get up and over Bonneville.
Right.
But we are going to go in there, and it's going to be either epic or it's going to be not good at all, and hopefully we get some more time.
Yeah.
And my guess is the first. Yeah, we're going to have epic days.
Yeah, but you're right. The way you guys went into it, working and coming up with a alternative calendar of opportunity going into this season to give it a try, see how it was going to work. I know you and a handful of other folks had a lot to say about this in extending that season, right? And it's about
we could have just, Dwayne, we could have just blown our whole wad and be like, you know what, just open it up March 1st and let's just pick away at it until you get 10 days in April. They were going to give us till April.
Right.
And that you would have had a lot of low quality days.
Yep.
But the impact and the allocation would have been eaten away.
Yeah.
And now it's like, well, let's give that up and see if we can go in there and have some of the good old days of fishing where it was just fun fishing, and like you're rewarded with fish that sell for $50 a pound. It's going to be great because we're out there catching these fish.
I'm pretty excited about even dragging the boat down and giving it a shot for a couple of days, because the opportunity is probably going to be one that we haven't seen in a number of years. And so, it's we've talked a lot of doom and gloom. The internet is riddled with doom and gloom and the lack of opportunity for the next couple of weeks, right? But we need to just hunker down for a couple of weeks and look at what probable opportunity lays ahead as we get through this time. Spend more time with families, spend more time checking on friends and neighbors, keep your distance, help people out where you can. And as we get through this, I'm going to spend this next week going through a lot of my gear. I'm going to start retying a lot of my kokanee gear. I'm going to get a lot of my stuff ready to go, because once it's go time, dragging the boat to the east side, really start hitting those fisheries I want to get after. Want to start getting on those kokanee up there at American Lake, and we got to get down on the Columbia and walleye fishing, right? Spring walleye fishing. So
that actually comes to the next point, and I don't know how much time we have, but the next point is Washington took a little bit too much of a drastic step, and I'm not afraid to say that because there are reasons. Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife Director Kurt Melcher knowingly came out and said, boy, I don't know about this. The CDC actually recommends to get outdoors, and fishing is one way that social distance can actually be maintained. And it's a recommended thing to be doing during this pandemic, because it keeps people with some sort of moral fortitude. It gives them something to do. And Washington took that away. And they have good reason. They took it away because most of the spring breakers took off and went to the coast. Flooded these coastal towns. These coastal towns have hospitals that only have like 5, some have 10, some have 12 ER beds. And they don't have the resources for these people. And if something were to hit them, they would be literally screwed. And Oregon, it happened in Oregon too, but the Oregon mentality came out, and Oregon actually said, look, everybody out. And it happened. Everybody got out. They came home, and now Washington said, well, we're going to do this. Well, Oregon said, well, hold on a second. We're not going to do that, but since we manage a waterway that is shared, we have to maintain concurrence through federal, contracts. We will shut the Columbia down because you've already made that decision. But we are not going to shut down fishing in the state of Oregon yet. People are able to maintain social distance, and we have fisheries that people need to be outside doing something, or inside not going anywhere. You can go on hikes, you can go fishing, you can do something. And as long as you can police yourself, just like the rest of us, we had to create these policies
Sure.
which say we will enforce a 6 feet standard at all times.
Right.
This is why we're not taking clients out. It's just not a good idea because we can't enforce that.
Sure.
It's not a good idea.
Well, you and I talked yesterday. It's like, how do you net a fish and stay 6 feet away from your client?
That is
I mean,
good point.
It's very difficult to do that, right? So you guys are doing the right thing in that regard as far as a number of the guides who could have opportunity to take folks out, but at what cost, right? So we have to be pretty prudent in those decisions and, make sure we're doing it for the betterment of all. And we'll get back to fishing, before shortly. And
we will.
Yeah.
We will.
No doubt about it.
And by the way, the turbidity in the Columbia has now gone up higher than the turbidity in the Willamette.
Oh.
Really strange stuff. And the problem because of the warmer temps, snow melt yet again hit eastern Oregon all the way down through probably Hood River.
Gotcha.
And all those rivers started dumping snow and all the dirty water is here again.
Yeah.
We're sitting at about an 8 in the Columbia, and that's actually that's not clean. Fishables right at about 11 to a 12.
Yeah.
And it's still climbing.
Well, yeah, I was kind of curious because, the temperatures have warmed up. We started getting that snow melt for sure. And we've had a little bit of rain around here, that's for sure. But the temperature's in that mid 50 to 60 degrees. And that typically, gets that snow melting and we start getting a little change in color. So that's why I was kind of searching that out. But it doesn't surprise me then for Shane and him mentioning in that segment before you why his chartreuse brine herring started popping when the sun hit the water. Right, it all makes sense now. It actually comes together. So
that's exactly true.
All right, buddy. Well, appreciate the insight, appreciate the info. I know when we are back on the water and fishing, you'll be out there. Do you have? You've had to push back all your dates as well. I know you scheduled a bunch of time off from work, and you were planning to fish, but
I am right there. I'm just now starting to reschedule a lot of people because I was waiting to see final word on a lot of different elements, and now it's to the point where I'm not even going to take out 2 people at once. I may go out with me and my significant other. I'm not going to take people that are, paying to have a good time to make sure that I'm not going to put them at risk. It's just not going to happen. I'm pushing back, but I've got some openings.
Okay.
And if we go back through till the end of April, there's going to be some good days coming. It's not going to be anything to kid about. It's going to be like the good old days. We're going to get out there and get them. We have an allocation.
Folks can track you down, BillMonroeOutdoors.com, or they can track you down on Facebook page, and they can kind of connect with you and see if you have some openings that they can go ahead and occupy in the event that we get to go fishing. They're gonna have that seat reserved. So
you bet
that works for you. Okay.
That works for me.
Perfect, man. All right, buddy. We'll be in touch, and I'll be tracking to see how you're doing, and probably give you a phone call and say, let's go fishing.
Soon, bro.
All right, buddy. Have a good night. Thank you.
Stay safe in there.
Yeah, I will too.
Okay.
Yeah, will do. Okay, bye. All right, Bill Monroe Jr., Bill Monroe Outdoors. That guy gets it done. Much like Shane, I mean, a lot of these guys that we talk to on this show, for good reason, try to get the nuts and bolts out of these guys and, get you dialed in if you're so inclined to take your own boat down there once the water's open back up, give you some good tips of the trade and how to be successful on the water. And one of the best ways to do that, if you are new to a fishery, or a fishery is new to you, I should say, book a trip with a guide. Some of these guys that we interact with definitely will get you squared away. They don't mind you coming out for a day and kind of showing you the ins and outs and how to get it done. And if they see you out there on the water the next day in your boat, they kind of just go, well, that's just kind of the way it goes sometimes. So nothing wrong with utilizing the guide and his or her knowledge to get you squared away on a new fishery. With that, we're going to jump out for a quick break. We come back, we're actually going to just roll out about a 15-minute segment of Barnum and I last year over at Twin Lakes. I figure we can talk about fishing. We're not going to be fishing for a week or two. You know what? Let's watch some fishing. So we had put together a little video last year, and we're going back over there this year because it's so doggone much fun. Twin Lakes, upper northeast quadrant, Colville area, North Twin Lakes, and we put together a video of fishing and catching those big triploids on Pautzke's firebait, just basically suspending or fishing that off the bottom with a sliding sinker. But you'll see as we go through the video and the fish that we're catching, there are some absolute dandies. We're catching fish anywhere from 2 to 6 pounds, big fatty triploids on our kokanee rods. We kind of talk about some things we figured out once we got over there. And it was kind of tricky because it is literally me and Barnum. We're fishing. One guy's running camera. So you kind of see us jump around a little bit, but one guy's running camera, the other guy is fishing and fighting fish, and you have to net your own fish, well, because the other guy, quite frankly, is running camera. So we were able to put together a pretty cool little video for you guys to enjoy. If you haven't seen it, we're going to roll that out after this commercial break. Don't go anywhere. Watch it on through the end. Come back, we'll close out the show. So stick through, commercial break, Twin Lakes, triploids, when we get through that break, and then we'll come back here right after that.
Marine is the one-stop shop for the Pacific Northwest angler. Whether you are looking for a small skiff to fish the Sound or rivers, or a huge offshore tuna machine, Defiance Marine has it. At Defiance Marine, be sure to power your boat with a Honda outboard package. Take advantage of the reliability and 5-year top-to-prop warranty on your Honda outboards. Our service department is always here to help and serve you as the customer. Did you know Defiance Marine has boat financing experts to help get you the best term rates on your new boat purchase? If you need financing for that new boat, call us today. We guarantee the best price, best service on a repower for your current boat. Defiance Marine is a Honda Premier dealership and one of the largest on the West Coast. Defiance Marine also carries all the gear that you will need. Everything from auxiliary kicker motors to fishing tackle and bait. Defiance Marine has certified technicians that are top-notch at their job. Some of the best in the Pacific Northwest at evaluating your boat issues and problems. Stop in today or give us a call for all your needs at Defiance Marine.
At metal supermarkets, we understand your need for fast access to a wide variety of metals, so we've made it easy. Our network of stores carries a wide variety of metal in all different types, shapes, sizes, and grades, with no required minimum order size. Who could ask for more? Simply tell us your dimensions online, on the phone, or in store, and we'll cut or process the metal to your desired size, often while you wait. We offer same-day service and can deliver the metal right to your door or job site. We even source hard-to-find metals, so no matter what you're looking for, metal supermarkets can provide it for you. And we're conveniently located with brick-and-mortar stores in Seattle and Portland, so you can check out our extensive stock for yourself. Superior customer service is guaranteed. Quality service from real people who know metal. We are the small quantity metal experts. To place an order, simply call a store to talk to one of our knowledgeable customer service representatives. Fill out a quote request online, order off of our e-commerce website, or visit one of our many locations and pick out the metal you want. Whether you're a small or large business, government, homeowner, or hobbyist, we make it easy for you to buy the exact metal and just the amount you need. We've been doing this for over 30 years, so we know how to get it done. Metal supermarkets, the convenience stores for metal. Visit or call a metal supermarket store near you today.
What if there was a smarter way to search for your new home? Introducing the Better Homes and Gardens real estate website and mobile app. This revolutionary new search tool puts your needs first. Narrow your search to what matters most to your family, like school data, school districts, and even walk scores. Get easy access to your local affiliated agent, as well as unique and local insights about neighborhoods and properties directly within the app. With synced and saved preferences, you'll always pick up wherever you left off. Get your smarter search started today with Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate.
Anyway, we're out here at Twin Lakes. This is North Twin Lake, and we are here fishing triploids. And they plant a ton of them in here. We got here yesterday, start figuring it out a little bit. We're just basically fishing bait off the bottom, suspended bait, or floating bait off the bottom, and going after some of these big triploids. So jumping in this morning, it's 5 a.m., it's time to go fishing.
Trying things out here, a little different presentation. We kind of just went on a free drift where we're just suspending our bait just a little bit above bottom and just drifting along, and that's a nice fish.
That is a nice fish.
Yeah. And just so we can cover more ground, the anchor fishery with bait wasn't producing like we liked. We went on the troll for a few minutes and had a couple decent takedowns and thought, you know what if we go back to that bait presentation, but be able to cover a little more ground and not be stuck stationary. Also used our electronics to figure out that the fish seemed to have dropped a little deeper. We had been fishing around 28 to 30 feet. Got out here, used electronics to see that the fish had actually moved more out in the 40-foot range. So we started our free drift at about 42 feet and we're drifting in towards that shallower water. And we were on this pass here about, what, 2 minutes?
Maybe.
And take down and a nice fish. If I can get him in the net here.
There we go. On the free drift. Barnum, this is working.
This is working really well, actually.
Well, because instead of sitting in one spot with our floating bait and letting the fish work their way around and come find us, we're hovering over them, covering ground. We're fishing upslope and we're finding fish. And they're taking it on the slow drift, basically, right?
Right.
So I like it. It's working well. Definitely going after this dough bait. That's a nice sized fish.
Yeah.
And this dude is no slouch. Yeah. You know what else is kind of nice? Fighting these buggers on these kokanee rods. I mean, why wouldn't you? Check him out. He is peeling line, baby.
Oh yeah.
Huh? There he is. Come on. Oh! This guy's, huh?
Are you getting whooped or what?
Yeah, he's well, I was grabbing the net. He's not giving up anytime soon. Yeah.
Nice fish.
We're finding them out here in deeper water too, Barnum.
Yeah.
We actually cruised out. We got a little wind push, okay? It's just kind of, that's the whole deal with this free drift, is just slowly pushing it at about a 1/4 mile per hour across ground, and we're fishing upslope, as we mentioned. And so we started out in 50 foot of water this time, and we're slowly transitioning up to that 30 foot. We hit a fish or two, run back out, let the wind push us in again. Now keep in mind, conditions are right, speed is right, and I guess if you had to, you could adjust that speed in your troll in direction with your kicker motor. But today it's just such a soft wind, we don't have to do any of that. There we go. That's a good fish.
Yes, it is.
Let's see. Let me pick that guy up for you.
Yeah.
Come here, buddy. Yeah. There you go. That's what we're after. Gorgeous. Oh, there we go. There we go.
Oh, wow.
Here we go.
Well, the free drifting apparently works. That was everything you'd want to see on a triploid takedown. I mean, that thing competed with a salmon and a salt. This is a little better.
You think?
Yeah. Yes, indeed. He's staying down. What do you see over there?
Nice fish. Yeah, you are.
Oh no, he's still on there.
Yeah, he's on. Ooh, that's good fish.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the kind of takedown you want to see when you're free drifting. Man alive.
You get that net.
Yeah. That was the best takedown on the trip there. Not as big as I thought he'd be.
Still a decent fish.
He was scrappy for sure.
Yeah,
That is darn near a double. You're messing around with the camera. I'm like, oh, that other rod just went off. Woo, look at that guy. Yes.
We have figured out the Twin Falls fishery, I think. Or Twin Lakes, excuse me.
Twin Lakes fishery. The free drift.
Yeah.
Is where it's at. Long leader, fishing about 6 to 8 feet off the bottom.
Got to clear one out of the net to net the next. That's not a bad day.
Next one, yeah. In true fashion, these things will run at you so fast at times, it feels like they've come off. Nope. Oh, another dandy. Okay. You got fish on the deck, Barnum.
Bloody decks.
Come here. Come here. What the? Oh, yeah.
It's a good problem to have.
It is a good problem to have. They're right there. Back to back. I'm liking these. These things cut so red. They do a nice job raising these fish out here. Quality trout, full of fat, delicious on the grill, on your Traeger. Smoke them up. These things are going to be fantastic. We are almost done. We have to check our fish bag because
yes.
We are right there. You get 5 apiece. You can catch and release, but you know, to be honest, these things inhale that bait so deep down to their throat. Barnum and I decided, you know, you can cut the leader and let them go, but the reality is they're not going to feed real well.
No.
And it's just not a good thing to do with these fish. They put them in here to, you know, to put and take. So if you're using bait on these triploids, you probably better keep them, because I guarantee those hooks are in the throat.
Getting a little nibble here. I've been off the bite for about 45 minutes. The Wayne's been whooping on me the last little bit here.
I don't see a bite. Oh, there he is. There he is. Oh.
I still know how to do this. Starting to wonder.
Yeah. Huh?
Go get it.
Well, that's typical. You don't get a lot, but you get the big ones that matter.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll leave the drag on this one just to enjoy it.
Sure.
We're getting down to our oh boy.
You got the big fish today.
Oh boy.
Times 2. That is a 5-pound fish.
Because that is a dandy. He's in the corner of the mouth.
Yeah. It's in the corner. Look at that.
Look at that. I think that topped my other one.
That might be a 6-pound fish.
We'll be talking about that one at the dock.
No kidding.
Figure out how to maneuver this.
Yeah, you're on your own here, buddy.
I can't pick him up one-handed. Look at that fish. My, oh my.
Now that.
Let's get him up here for you folks to see. Nope. Not quite ready for that. Popped out.
Right in the corner. Okay, that's what happened. Now, is he going to be a 5-pound pig?
We will find out.
Gosh, these things are scrappy. And you know, do yourself a favor if you got them, man. Use these coconut rods for fishing like this, because, yeah, you're not trolling. I mean, unless you choose to, which we did a little bit of that too, but, you know, just enjoy the fight of these fish. Typically when they bite, especially with this fire bait, they're taking it in, so they are not coming off. And, we actually use an 8-pound test leader just because of their teeth and the fact that they're going to take it into their throat. and then those teeth rub on that leader. So a little heavier leader they're not leader shy. Doesn't bother them one bit. So you can definitely let them take it good before you worry about setting the hook. Okay. And the net shuffle. Put it up here.
I'm trying to do it over the shoulder.
Yeah. Coming aboard. There they are. Hey, welcome back in studio. Hopefully you enjoyed that little piece there that we put together last season over at Twin Lakes, North Twin Lakes, Colville area, through the Colville Nation. They do an amazing job up there at Twin Lakes. They have an entire campground, little general store. They have cabins that we rent. My folks have been going over there for several years, and we finally joined up with them last year. Great experience, great opportunity to just spend the day out there fishing. If you don't have a boat, you can actually catch a lot of those really nice sized triploids right off some of the docks, though some of the dock areas you gotta kind of get up extremely early, beat the old guys out there, because they'll roll out of bed about 3 a.m. just go sit on their stool on the corner of their dock. The fishing can be that good. So something to look forward to. Get online, just Google Twin Lakes, North Twin Lakes, Colville Nation. You do buy your Colville fishing license to fish their waters for a couple days. Cost you $20-30, something like that. I think it was more like $20 for a couple days. You are allowed 5 fish per day. You can catch and release even when using bait. It's just fantastic, and the weather over there generally is pretty nice. Does get a little windy, but you know, it's well worth the drive. Spend a couple days over there and enjoy that fishery. We are going back first weekend in June again this year to get that done, and then we're going to bounce right on over to Roosevelt to do our kokanee roundup. Speaking of which, June 4th, 5th, and 6th. Kokanee roundup there on Roosevelt in Banks Lake for the walleye, but in Electric City along Banks Lake, we are staying again at the Sky Deck Motel. Just simply Google the Sky Deck Motel. I'll be throwing out some phone numbers and some contact persons here next couple weeks, provided we're doing shows next week. We'll yet to be determined. But Cooley Playland Campground and Sky Deck Motel. That's all you need to know for now. That's where you get your reservations. Tell them you are with the Fish Hunt Northwest group coming over that first actual weekend in June. We'll be at Twin Lakes May 31st through the 3rd or 4th, and then we bounce over to Roosevelt for our get together. So questions about that fishery in Twin Lakes, fishing that fire bait. We actually put them in little spawn bags, which made it last longer. I'm going to review that type of stuff as we roll into kokanee and trout fishing here over the next several weeks. We're going to go back and revisit some of that stuff, kick out a bunch of how-tos for you guys in the bait lab, and hopefully start getting some video content out there on the water for you guys to follow. So lots to do moving forward. We're going to kind of play it by ear as we roll into this next week. We'll kind of see what happens via social media, see what happens, everything going on there relative to fishing and hunting. We may have to take a week off because of, well, there's not a lot to talk about other than people still upset with the closure. So we may take a week off. We may not. Just tune into our Facebook page. Follow us on Facebook. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please go to our YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything. And you are always tracking what we're putting out there relevant to new content and new uploads that happen weekly. So you can follow us there. Go to our Facebook page. Give us a like or a follow. And be relevant. Post up your information. Post your questions. Whether it's relative to recipes, how-to segments in the bait lab, all the previous content for our first year all lives there. This is officially show number 1 of season 2 here at Fish Hunt Northwest, and we thank you for following us week in and week out and all the support you've shown us over the past year. So with that,
we're going to call it a night. Hope to be back here next Thursday. If we are not, I'll put something out during the week. We'll have some how-tos and things, probably from the bait lab, that I'll just go ahead and live stream. Stay relevant, stay in contact with you guys as we get through this. Be safe, wash your hands, stay home, take care of your family, and hope we make it through this and come out on the other side all together and back on the water. All right, have a great week. God bless. We'll see you next time.